Hi guys, I'm back with another book review. Very exciting. This is Mona's Eyes by Thomas Schlesser. And this is translated from the French by Hildegard Serle. Mona is 10 when she first goes blind for 1 hour. As doctors try to find out the cause of her malady, her beloved grandfather is tasked with taking her to therapy appointments. Instead, fearing that she may lose her sight entirely, he takes her to see one famous artwork a week, teaching her a little about beauty, life, humanity, and of course, art history with each masterwork. What follows is a year in Mona's life, 52 weeks of life-changing art, life lessons, and a journey through 5 centuries of art history. Mona's Eyes is the second novel by the author. He's first in English, and he's also written a lot of non-fiction about art, artists, and the relationship between art and politics. Schlesser teaches art history at the École Polytechnique in Paris and is the director of the Hartung Bergman Foundation. This book contains 52 chapters, one for each artwork, and is broken into sections that are labeled with the name of the gallery that houses those artworks in France, starting with the Louvre. Each chapter opens with what's going on in Mona's life and her, responses to that, her feelings about that. And then we get a description of the painting, which helps us, notice the details of what we're looking at. And then her grandfather's history and sort of life lesson on that. And so each chapter is labeled with the artist and then like a little italics short sentence that's kind of summarizes the life lesson. I think the structure works really well. It can feel a little encyclopedic at times. The descriptions of the paintings was really good in some ways, but often the title of the painting described was not clearly included. So I was Googling each picture as I went, which, that slowed down my reading flow a little bit. That's fine. I wanted to know what these pictures looked like, but having the paintings included or even posting a slideshow online somewhere would be great. Maybe that's happened. My copy was an ARC, so it's pre-publication, but just a thought. Maybe it's perhaps a failing in a book about such a visual medium to not include the visuals. But that said, they were not hard to find at all. I was able to locate each one really quickly. So, it was quite fun, actually, looking at all the paintings. This book has been compared to Sophie's World in the sense that it's an older voice teaching a young girl about a subject through a series of lessons. In Justin Gardner's book, A History of Philosophy, and in this one, Art History. I think that's a pretty apt comparison. Like that book, it's fictionalized nonfiction, and we get a lot of information. The relationship between the grandfather, Henry, and Mona looms large in this book as he teaches her about life and art, and I quite like these interactions, though they did not seem deeply based in realism. Henry speaks to her like an adult and sees something in her that's sort of wise beyond her years, which is kind of partly explains that character, the way she's written. But Mona is not a realistic 10-year-old. So I don't know that matters that much. By being a child, that character helps the reader, relax and see the works through her fresh, childlike gaze. And I think that is used really well. It works really well. Over the course of the book, the backstory of Mona's year, her parents' problems and her school life and friends, that kind of takes a little bit of a backseat. It's not as compelling as their time in the galleries. But I think it gives a kind of through line that, it kind of creates this sense of like there's the real world and then there's this art space, and I kind of liked that. I do think it's pretty cheeky of the grandfather to not take Mona to her therapy sessions and not tell her parents this. In the context of the book, it's a nice secret between them and it's of benefit to her, but it's perhaps questionable behavior, really. Like maybe don't do that. But sometimes books and stories take these kind of liberties. It's not a major problem. Her father has a drinking problem in this book, and that's kind of dealt with fairly lightly. But then again, it's not the main point of the book, I think that's okay. This book is a calm, measured read. It's often slow. It's not fast-paced at all. It feels like something to spend time with and meander through, much like you would at a gallery. It's not a novel you can sit down and read end to end. I read mine a few chapters at a time at bedtime, which I really enjoyed doing that. Picking it up, reading 3-4 chapters maybe. It's quite nice to drift off to sleep after reading a few chapters and thinking about the artworks and listening to the interpretations of the meaning behind them and stuff like that. The way the grandfather shares the works is conversational and thought-provoking. It's not preachy. It's not like a dry lecture. It's quite dynamic. And the life lessons imparted here change Mona. And so these parts feel more real than her real world life. And like I said before, I like that. Art can impact us like that sometimes. Yeah. I think for some, this book might feel a bit long and not have enough, movement and dynamism and action to the narrative. It's one to spend time with. I think some people might prefer either reading encyclopedia or a novel rather than this kind of hybrid. But I liked it. I liked Sophie's World as well. So it was quite relaxing. I loved how with each chapter, the styles and movements of the artwork changed. So you really like experiencing that flow of history as you're reading. And I like that. That was cool. I like the little bits of history that were in there and like what things mean. I love that stuff. I was okay with Mona and her family and stuff. I didn't really care about that, but it added something to the story. I don't know. So if you love art history, you love books like Sophie's World, you're going to like this. It is more meandering, a calm book. If you're looking for a little calm book, a little escape at the end of the day. I think you'll like it. I found it very rewarding reading. I enjoyed it a lot, but I do understand that, it's worth mentioning that it's a little bit sort of slower and it's not something you're going to read in 1 or 2 sittings. Just because, I think if that's you or not, It's a good book. Thank you to PGC Books for the ARC of this one to review. And tell me your favorite artwork or even your favorite art style. You don't have to pick one because that just seems mean. But yeah, tell me what artwork you love, or if you're somebody that creates your own artwork, I'd love to hear a little bit about that. And if you read this book, let me know if you liked it or not. And thank you for joining me. Thanks for coming along. I'll talk to you soon.